Have you ever felt like you're just standing on the sidelines wishing for a different life while it seems like everyone else is out there actually building one? Well, today we're throwing the magic wands out the window. We are breaking down a blueprint, a real, actionable way to turn the whole idea of manifestation into a practical, science-backed tool you can use to get what you want. Okay, let's get into it. And it all boils down to this, right here, this fundamental split. On one side, you've got wishing, which is basically just passive hope. And on the other, you've got doing, the active, hands-on process of creating. Now, most people get stuck on the left side of this screen, but all the real change, that happens entirely on the right. And we're about to show you exactly how to make that leap.
And look, if you've ever felt that kind of frustration, you are so not alone. This comment from a Reddit user just nails it. It perfectly captures what we call the manifestation paradox. You know that feeling, right? That maddening loop where the more desperately you want something, the further away it feels. It's such a common roadblock, but it's the exact one we're here to tear down.
So, what is going on here? We call it the manifestation paradox. This huge, frustrating gap between wanting something with all your heart and actually seeing it happen. To get past it, we've got to first understand the psychological trap that puts us there in the first place. And believe it or not, the core mechanism was figured out way back in 1948 by a sociologist named Robert Merton. See, a self-fulfilling prophecy isn't some mystical force. It's just a feedback loop. A belief, even one that starts out totally false, changes how you act, and that new behavior eventually makes the original belief come true. Now, this is awesome when the belief is positive, but it can be a real killer when it's negative. And here's where it gets really wild. Your brain is a bit literal. Your unconscious mind often just completely ignores negative words like don't. So, when you're obsessively thinking, I don't want to fail, all your brain really hears is fail, fail, fail. It's like telling yourself, don't think about a pink elephant. What's the first thing you think about? A pink elephant. You're accidentally programming yourself to head straight for the one thing you're trying to avoid. Okay, so that's the problem. Pretty big one, right? So what's the fix? Well, we're shifting from the paradox to the blueprint. This is your step-by-step guide to reprogramming your own brain for success, and it's all based on actual neuroscience. No magic here.
And this is the most important idea to get. We are not talking about asking the universe for favors and hoping for the best. We're talking about rolling up our sleeves and actively changing our brain's wiring through focused, consistent effort. There's a word for this, neuroplasticity, and it's the engine behind all real, lasting change.
And this chart kind of shows you the science behind the curtain. It's not just one thing, it's a whole network of systems in your brain working together. You've got your RAS, which is like a bouncer for your attention. You have neuroplasticity, which physically rewires your beliefs. Dopamine, which is the fuel that keeps you motivated. And your mirror neuron system, which lets you practice things just by thinking about them. We're about to put all of these to work for us.
So let's start with the big one, the most important piece of our blueprint, the reticular activating system, or RAS. I want you to think of it like the gatekeeper of your conscious mind. Your senses are flooded with millions of bits of information every single second, and the RAS is the part of your brain that decides what tiny fraction of that actually gets your attention. And the best part? You can tell it what to look for. So how do you do it? It's actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, you set a specific goal that you genuinely care about. Second, and this is the part everyone gets wrong, you vividly visualize the process, the actual steps you'll take, not just the happy ending. When you do this, you're basically telling your RAS, hey, this stuff is important now. It's just like when you decide you want to buy a red car, and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. They were always there, you just finally told your brain to start noticing them.
And if you doubt how powerful that mental process is, check this out. This is from a classic study. One group just mentally practiced shooting free throws for 30 days, and their performance improved by 23%. That is almost the exact same improvement as the group that physically practiced every single day. How is that possible? Because visualizing an action fires up nearly the same neural pathways as actually doing it. You're building the mental muscle for success before you even take the first step.
Okay, so we've got the mindset, we've got the neuroscience. Now we need the tools. This section is all about bridging that gap between your vision and your reality with concrete, proven methods. This is where theory becomes your daily to-do list.
First up is a fantastic tool called the WHOOP method. Now, most manifestation stuff makes a huge mistake. It stops at step 2, which can actually make you less motivated. The real magic of WHOOP happens in steps 3 and 4. You have to confront your biggest internal obstacles head-on, and then make a specific if-then plan to get around them. That's what turns daydreaming into a real strategy.
Next is this brilliantly simple trick called habit stacking. See, your brain absolutely loves running on autopilot. So instead of trying to find the motivation to start a brand new habit, you just piggyback it onto one you already have. You link the new action to something you already do without thinking, like pouring your morning coffee. By doing that, willpower becomes totally irrelevant.
And finally, to make sure our goals aren't just fuzzy dreams, we use the SMART framework. A vague wish like, I want to be successful is, well, it's pretty useless to your brain. But a goal like, I will get 3 new clients for my business by the end of this quarter by sending 10 targeted emails every week, now that is a concrete target your brain can lock onto and actually execute a plan for.
All right, we've covered the tools. Now it's time to upgrade the internal operating system, your mind. This is all about the subtle but powerful psychological shifts in your language and your identity that are absolutely essential for long-term success.
So take a second and really think about this. Which one of these statements sends a stronger, clearer signal to your brain that it's time for a change? Which one feels different when you say it? If you've guessed I am, you got it. And here's why it's so important. The language of wanting actually reinforces the reality of not having. It keeps you in a state of lack. But when you shift your internal talk to I am, you're not lying to yourself. You are giving your subconscious a new job description. You're signaling that this is your new identity, and your brain will immediately start working to adjust your actions to match it.
And that shift in language plugs right into Carol Dweck's incredible research on mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, every setback is just more proof that you can't do it. But with a growth mindset, failure is just data. It's nothing more than a learning opportunity on the path to getting better. Believing you can improve through effort isn't just nice, it's non-negotiable if you want to achieve anything big.
And this brings us right back to that paradox we started with. The solution, the antidote to that desperate obsession, is detachment. Now, this does not mean you stop caring. Not at all. It means you release that fearful, needy grip on one specific outcome. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you'll be okay no matter what, which ironically is what frees up all your mental energy to perform at your best and actually get the thing you want.
So we've walked through the entire blueprint. We've talked about the paradox, the neuroscience behind it, the tools to take action, and the mindsets you need to sustain it. Now let's bring it all together.
This quote from Professor Annabelle Chen sums it all up perfectly. Your thoughts prime the pump. They set your direction and they fuel your motivation. But it is the action, the consistent, day in, day out doing that actually changes your life. Thinking is the blueprint, but doing is building the house.
So we're going to end with this question. Don't just click away from this thinking, that was interesting. Let's make it useful. Right now, what is one small, concrete action you can take today to move yourself from the wishing column to the doing column? What's that first tiny step that will start to make your goal feel inevitable? Because the life you really want isn't just wished for, it's built, one action at a time.